Okay, let's answer one of the common questions when people begin a new React Redux project. Which middleware should I use? I'm going to speak about redux-saga and redux-thunk, the two top and most common middlewares used. There are others like Redux Observable and Redux Promise, which are also good options, but that's for another video. In this video, I'll show you a few slides, don't worry, not too much, only to have something more visual while I'm speaking about the behavior of those two middlewares, and I'll show you the code of a project which is using both at the same time. At the end, of course, you will see the conclusions and the difference between those two middlewares, so you will know which middleware you should use for your project. Let's begin. Redux-thunk behavior. We have four elements: our component with our fantastic code, the store with the whole truth and persistent knowledge, and finally our actions which will activate some types of our reducer to modify the store and the component after rendering. Here in the code I have the news page component, which is a page to show the news, and these are my actions: get news start, get news access, and get news fail. In the reducer file you can see those three actions has his type to change some specific properties: error news, loading news, and news. Depend of the type, I modify some properties or another, with some values or another, of course. And in the news page component, you can see that I'm listening those three variables: loading news, news, and error top news. Go back to the slide for a minute. First of all, our component reads the store to get the knowledge. Then in some moment, our component will call to some action. This action will activate a type of our reducer which can affect to the store, and at the end, the component will render again with the information updated. While the first action has changed the reducer, our action thunk has called a service. With the answer, success or fail, it will activate another type of our reducers which will affect the store again and also our computer after rendering. In my case, I have those actions, and my action thunk, this will be this one, get news, who dispatch the get news start at the beginning. I do a lot of things to parse some information that I have get from the input users. I call to the service, this one, or this one, depends of some information, and at the end I dispatch a get news access or get news fail, depend of the answer of the server. In my reducer files, load the news and the loading news set to false, or if it's get news fail, I put some error that I have get in the response, and I set loading news to false, of course, that's always. Now redux-saga. At the beginning is the same. Our component which read the store, it will call an action, and the action will activate a type of the reducer, but now we find the big difference. There is a saga function which it subscribes to an action. Don't worry, I know some of you are probably thinking, what is he saying? Quick pause. In the code, I have these coronavirus actions. That will be my action for the redux-saga: start, success, or fail, this one. And I have one thing more, I have the file sagas with the coronavirus, this one. This function, this sagas function, is subscribed to the action get coronavirus info start. So when my code call to the action get coronavirus info start, this one, my reducer which will active this to change the store, and my function sagas will activate to do the call to the server, throw the get coronavirus info fail, and dispatch the get coronavirus info success if the server response is okay. This has a lot of potential because you can execute the same saga for several types. You can subscribe, for example, in this case, I can subscribe, instead get coronavirus info start, I can subscribe to this action, this action, and that will be okay. Of course, those actions have to be some similar or get some similar information, because the call has to be the same or similar if you want a consistent application, of course. It's true that you can put a lot of if-else switch or something like that to use the same sagas for every actions, but that won't be consistent and that will be so confused for another program or maybe yourself after several months. Slide time. After this, the behavior is similar to redux-thunk. The sagas function will call an action which will depend on the server's response, and then the reducer and the component will change with the new state of our reducer. That is like the previous Redux middleware. Summary: keeping everything in mind, let's see the difference between those two great middlewares. Thunk has an easy architecture with less files, code, and without a lot of new concepts like check every, take latest, yield, and all that stuff that you can find in sagas. Sagas allow you to test faster because yield return to pure objects. Having the sagas file without logic allows you to test actions easier and to test the logic apart from the other things. Thunk is a library more stable without great changes in the last few years. But Sagas is more unstable with a lot of changes in the last couple of years, but that also makes the library more powerful with more options, and that's awesome. Like we said previously, Sagas act in response of an action that allow you to reuse the Sagas on the actions because the logic is separate one from another. Sagas also don't break any Redux pattern because they don't have any logic in the actions. Thunk yes. In conclusion, choose redux-thunk if you are gonna work on easy or small projects and there isn't a high demand of testing because it can be a bit hard make good tests with the mock store and mixing the logic with the actions. For medium-large projects or projects with a demand of testing, choose Sagas. It's a bit more complex and you will have to write more with all the start, succeed or failure actions, but at the end, it's a powerful library with a lot of options. Little advice at the end, don't make the error of choosing redux-saga only because it's more powerful. If your project don't need the potential that Sagas has, choose redux-thunk. It will be easier for learning and for programming. But of course, if you need all the potential, all the things that Sagas provide you, then of course choose it because you will enjoy learning everything that you need and you will have all of you need and probably more than that. Thank you for your time and have a good coding.